Hello friends, this is Akash Misra here and welcome back to my YouTube channel, that is Mechanical Engineering Make Easy. And we are moving with one of the most important topic or important subject in case of GATE, and that is nothing but manufacturing, and this is 16th lecture of manufacturing. And for covering all the syllabus of manufacturing, nearly 40 to 45 lectures will be needed, and this is only 16th lecture. Okay, and this manufacturing section are too much high weightage, so study with dedication. And we will now move with resistance welding. In previous lecture we have looked number of types like soldering, brazing, braze welding likewise, and now we will move with resistance welding. Okay, what is resistance welding? Resistance welding is fusion pressure welding. Okay, resistance welding is nothing but fusion pressure welding. Means we have to apply pressure also, and the fusion will happen and the welding will happen. This is nothing but the fusion pressure welding. The heat generated in resistance welding, okay, because I will give you brief idea. Firstly, okay, these are the electrodes which will be given power supply, and the material or where we have to weld, that will be put here. And what happens, we will press these electrodes to decrease the gap, and ultimately what happens, if gap decreases, the pressure will be applied to the plate, and as the power supply is given to both electrodes, the heat will be generated there. Okay, and that heat will depend on I square RT. Okay, I is current, R is resistance offered by this. Okay, the resistance offered by this workpiece and all the section here, and T is time. Okay, the and this I will vary from 3000 ampere to 1 lakh ampere. 3000 ampere to 1 lakh ampere, the I will vary from 3000 ampere to 1 lakh ampere. So you can imagine how much high amount of current we are flowing, and that's why what happens, the heat will be generated very high, and within any 1 microsecond the joint is prepared. Okay, that is the basic principle of fusion pressure welding or resistance welding. And the voltage will be, okay, voltage supplied to both the electrodes will be have value from 1 to 25 volt. Okay, means voltage is too much low but current is too much high, and if current is high, that current will face the resistance for traveling, and that ultimately will increase the heat generation. Okay, if voltage will increase, then the current will decrease. Okay, and if current decreases, then resistance field will be decreased, and ultimately heat generation will decrease. That's why we should have low voltage and high current condition for proper and maximum heat generation. Okay, so this is all about, and this formula is too much important. Make star mark to this formula and note down. Okay, then this resistance welding have number of types like spot welding and etc etc. So we will look what are they. So first is spot welding. What I have drawn figure, that was of spot welding. Okay, so how that happens, the pressure will be applied, the current will be on, the current will off, and pressure will be released. Means firstly the pressure will applied, then current will likewise. These are the electrodes. Okay, and here the material. Firstly the pressure will be applied from both sides. Okay, pressure applied, then current on, means current will flow from both sides. Okay, that will depend on the positive and negative supply given to which electrode. Okay, current may flow likewise or may flow likewise, that will depend on positive and negative supply given to which joint. Okay, means firstly pressure will applied, current on, then current off, and then pressure released. Likewise the process of spot welding. Then second is seam welding. Second type of resistance welding, that is seam welding. In this case pressure applied with two roller electrodes. Means what is the seam welding? I will give you idea with figure. The electrically conducting rollers will be there and the workpiece will be passed from these rollers. Okay, and the rollers will rotate and ultimately the pressure will be applied, and these rollers, as they are electrically conducting, the supply will be given. Okay, supply will be given to both electrodes. That electrodes will rotate, and because of rotation the workpiece will be pressurized, and as current is flowing, so heat will be generated and joint will be formed. For example, if these two plates and we have to join, so here the joint will happen. Okay, this is nothing but the principle of seam welding. Then there is projection welding, percussion welding, flash butt welding, then resistance butt welding, high frequency resistance welding. These are number of types, but that types are not too much common for exam point of view also, and for our education and for practical use point of view also. The spot welding and seam welding is too much popular in industry and popular in exam point of view also. Okay, so note down these two, and if you want then you can note down these names also, like projection welding is also type of resistance welding, then percussion welding also type of resistance welding likewise. Then we will move towards another type of welding, that is thermit welding. Okay, it is also one type of welding. We have seen while we have classified all the welding techniques. So thermit welding. What is that? Thermit welding is nothing but exothermic chemical reaction will be there. Means what will happen, in number of cases what we have seen up till now, we was generating heat from electric supply. Okay, means the spark gap will be generated, or maybe the because of resistance offered the heat is generated likewise. But here the reaction, chemical reaction will happen, and that chemical reaction will be have exothermic reaction. And if you have studied up till 12th, that is in chemistry, exothermic reaction means the heat will be generated or heat will be liberated from reaction, and if the reaction is endothermic then heat will be taken from outside to the reaction likewise. So this is the exothermic chemical reaction. Exothermic chemical reaction. Okay, exothermic chemical reaction will happen and the heat will be taken from this reaction and joint will be formed. That is nothing but thermit welding. Okay, as simple as that. Only the source of heat is changed and the maximum temperature reach will be 3750 degrees Celsius to 4000 degrees Celsius. What kind of reaction we are using, what kind of the reaction we are using, depending on that, the maximum temperature will vary from 3750 to 4000 degrees Celsius. Means too much huge amount of temperature we are reaching. Okay, but this thermit welding is also not too much popular in industry. Only spot welding, arc welding, TIG, MIG, and likewise these kind of some techniques that are popular in industry. Okay, so we also should focus on that techniques. Okay, then factors affecting weldability. Okay, next topic for today's discussion, that is factors affecting weldability. So today in today's lecture we are concluding with welding techniques. So factors affecting weldability. What is weldability? I have given you idea in first lecture of welding. Weldability is nothing but the capacity of material or metal to be welded. Okay, that is nothing but weldability. So number of factors there that affect the weldability of any material. Means for example, the copper alloy is there, so that alloy is get melded, that alloy will be get welded or not, that will depend on composition and etc etc. So that we will look. So melting point of metal. Okay, melting point of melting point of metal is also too much important, and this should be minimum, not too much less also, not too much high also, because if that melting point is too much high, then that will melt. For melting that material we need to supply more heat, so ultimately the welding will become too much complex, and if the melting material the melting point of metal is too much low, in that case the joint strength will affect. That's why that should be medium. Okay, this is first factor. Then second factor is thermal conductivity. Thermal conductivity should be low, because if thermal conductivity high, then what will happen, the heat will be conducted by that material, and ultimately heat will be decreased at the location of joint. So ultimately we will need to supply more heat, and that will decrease the efficiency, that will increase the welding cost. Okay, these are some factors. That's why the thermal conductivity should be as low as possible. Then next is reactivity. And that reactivity also should be low, means if any material is too much reactive, then what will happen, as we are using number of type of gases here, like shielding gas, then flux, then in some we are using argon gas and etc. So number of cases we are using here, and if that material is reactive, then ultimately what will happen, the weld porosity like problems and etc will happen, the strength of joint will be decreased. So that's why the reactivity of material should be low. Okay, then next is coefficient of thermal expansion. Coefficient of thermal expansion. Okay, what is the coefficient of thermal expansion? Means as temperature increases, that material will expand or contract. Okay, that is nothing but coefficient of thermal expansion. Means as temperature changes, the volume of material will change. That is nothing but coefficient of thermal expansion. So that should be less. Okay, that coefficient of thermal expansion should be less, because of that coefficient of thermal expansion is higher. In that case what will happen, temperature, as temperature increases, the volume will increase, and ultimately that will and while cooling the volume will decrease, so that will generate surface crack and etc. So joint strength will be decreased. This is another point. Then there is electrical resistance. Okay, electrical resistance should be as low as possible or as less as possible, because if electrical resistance is higher, okay, so ultimately what will happen, in number of cases we are using the electrical current there, and if current will not pass properly, then ultimately what will happen, the losses will be higher. Okay, so that's why the electrical resistance should be as low as possible. And next is surface condition. Surface condition should be clean. Okay, means if surface condition is not clean, then what will happen, the porosity and impurities type of problems will happen. That's why for proper joint and for ideal joint, that surface should be clean. Okay, then we will look towards some bonus points for today's lecture. If you are enjoying, then please like my session and share with your friends also. Bonus point, what are that? First is and we are looking the efficiency of heat input. Okay, efficiency of heat input of different welding processes like resistance welding, arc welding, etc etc. And what is the efficiency of heat input is nothing but for example, we are providing 100 joule of heat at input with the help of maybe electrical energy. Okay, but at the output, means while welding process we are utilizing all 100 joules of energy into welding process, or some amount of energy is liberated to atmosphere, or some losses are there. So that losses we are going to take care with efficiency of heat input. So that efficiency for resistance welding that efficiency will vary from 85 to 95%. 85 to 95%. So this process is too much efficient, means from that 100 joules 85 to 95 joules will be used for our welding action, and remaining maybe 5 to 15%, 5 to 15 joule heat will be lost. Then next is thermit welding. In case of thermit welding, that efficiency will vary from 65 to 75%. Okay, for thermit welding the efficiency of heat input is 65 to 75%, means 65 to 75 joules of heat. If we are supplying 100 joules of heat, then 65 to 75 joules of heat will be used for welding and remaining heat will be lost. Then next is gas welding. In case of gas welding, efficiency varies from 55 to 65%. The gas welding have efficiency 55 to 65%. And last is arc welding. Arc welding have efficiency nearly 45 to 55%. So if we have analyzed all the efficiencies, then we can see one thing, that is nothing but the arc welding have very less efficiency, that is nothing but 45 to 55% of supplied heat will only be converted into welding joint. The remaining 45 to 55% of heat will be rejected to atmosphere or lost. But completely reverse of resistance welding. Resistance welding uses 85 to 95% of supplied heat for welding, and only 5 to 15% of heat will be lost. Okay, so this is the efficiencies of heat input for these major 4 welding processes. Okay, so we have concluded all the welding techniques here, and from next lecture we will come up with some another types like adhesive bonding and etc. So up till now, bye.